this lesson we're going to be looking at Pythagoras' theorem. Pythagoras was a Greek mathematician in the 6th century BC. He discovered that on a right angled triangle, the longest side squared is equal to the sum of the other two sides squared. Now, that may not make an awful lot of sense right now, but hopefully later on it will. The longest side of a right angled triangle is called the hypotenuse. So initially, we have to look at how to identify the hypotenuse of a right angled triangle. If you look at the three triangles I've drawn here, this side is the longest in that triangle. There's the longest side in that triangle, and there's the longest side in that triangle. Now, how do you actually identify that if it's not plain to be seen? If you look at the right angle, draw an arrow from it, as shown in each one, you can see that basically the square in the corner there points to the longest side. So in each of the three triangles, we've identified x as being the longest side. If we now look at this right angle triangle with actually numbers written on it, if we use Pythagoras' theorem, he said that the longest side squared, which in this case is 5, he states that that's equal to the other two sides squared, 3 squared, plus 4 squared. Now, does that work? 25 is equal to 9 plus 16. 25 is equal to 25. So therefore, that proves that Pythagoras' theorem works for that particular triangle. If we then move on and apply this to a question, here we have a right angle triangle with one of the sides missing. We have to work out the length of side x. Using Pythagoras again, the longest side in this case is x, so we square it. That's equal to 7 squared plus 12 squared. Working that out, x squared equals 49 plus 144. So x squared is equal to 193. So x is equal to the square root of 193, which is equal to 13.9 centimetres. If we just look back to the original triangle, the two shorter sides are 7 and 12. Therefore, our hypotenuse must be longer than 12. So therefore, 13.9 centimetres seems like a reasonable answer. If we now look at a second example, where you've got the hypotenuse given this time. So the hypotenuse, which is the longest side, is 15 centimetres. And again, remember the way we identified it before? So the longest side in this case is 15 centimetres, and you're asked to find one of the shorter sides. So again, using Pythagoras, longest side squared, 15 squared, is equal to 5 squared plus y squared. Working that out, 225 is equal to 25 plus y squared. Solve that equation, we subtract 25 from each side. So 225, take away 25 is equal to y squared. So 200 is equal to y squared. And again, our y is going to be the square root of 200, which is 14.1 centimetres, to three significant figures. And again, checking back to the triangle, we've been given the longest side as 15, therefore our length y must be smaller than that. So 14.1 centimetres is less than 15, therefore your answer seems to be correct. And finally, to summarise, there are two types of questions they can ask you in Pythagoras' theorem. Number one, they can ask you for the hypotenuse, or in the second type of question, they can ask you for one of the shorter sides. Problem a lot of pupils have is knowing how to actually write that down and understanding the value which they get. In the first one here, we've got x squared is equal to 8 squared plus 10 squared. We know, looking at the question, that our value for x should be greater than 10. Therefore, we square the sides and add them. So x squared is equal to 64 plus 100, which is 164. X squared is equal to 164, therefore x is equal to the square root of 164, which is 12.8 centimetres. And again, that's greater than the 10 which we had at the start, therefore we know that hopefully is correct. In the second example, you've got 20 squared is equal to 14 squared plus y squared. In this case, we must subtract the two sides when they squared. Okay? So what we've got now is 400, take away 196 is equal to y squared. So 204 is equal to y squared. So y is equal to 14.3 centimeters. Again, we check back up the original diagram. The 20 centimeters is the hypotenuse, therefore your side must be shorter than that, and it is 14.3, therefore that should mean that we have the correct answer.